Hello, welcome to a Brawl modding tutorial. This is animated collisions. The title is technically wrong because we are not animating the actual collision. What we're doing is animating a model and assigning a collision to that, and the collision will just follow the model around. Extremely simple to do, and this tutorial does stack upon collision adding, or the creating stages from elements of other stages, where we added that platform. It stacks upon that one because it's the easiest way to learn how. So if you have that file already made, or whatever, the one you made from that tutorial, or you haven't made it at all and have no idea what I'm talking about, go watch that tutorial, creating stages from elements of other stages, and then once you're finished that, come back and watch this. Okay, so with that file you made in the last tutorial, what you're going to do is, if you remember, we edited the collision data by going into Arc2 and then collision data, right-click preview. If you're uncomfortable with the user interface, check out my earlier tutorials on how to actually navigate this interface. And if you remember, we set it up so that we have a thing up here where our platform's going to be, but we can't see it because we just have it there on the animation, not on the actual collision editor window. Again, watch that previous tutorial if you're confused about what I'm talking about. The first step for what we're going to have to do is add another collision object. This thing right here. These are actually all the same object, and there's parts of them we can edit those. But what we need to do is right-click in this panel, New Object. And if you can see, there's nothing on it at all. And you can make this full screen if you want. And then right-click drag. If you're uncomfortable with the 3D user interface in Brawlbox, check out previewing 3D models and those other tutorials based on that. And to create a new collision data, you're going to hold Alt and click and drag from where the old one is. So you basically create a new one on the second collision object. So that looks pretty good. With it selected, you can just click, turn off the top one, and click this, Align Y. So this makes it perfectly flat. And then turn your new one off, and just click on this one, select it however you want, and hit the delete key. So now we only have one collision object there. So now if you can understand this, we have a collision object for the stage, and a collision object for our platform. And if you're making this from scratch, you won't have to do this step. You'll just have to make a new collision object and put it on where your platform or whatever you're adding for your stage will be. Now this is the tricky part, and it's not that tricky, so good for you. You're going to have to open up here. You can see all of the models in your stage, in your .pack file. Ours is Platform 01. That's the model we added, and the bone that is going to be associated with this collision. This collision is going to follow this bone. If we make this bone expand or shrink, the collision will expand or shrink. If we rotate this bone, the collision will rotate. That bone is going to be this big blue PT base. So with it selected, and your collision object down here selected, you click on the plus beside model right here, and you should see the model goes to Platform 1 and the bone goes to Stage DX Big Blue PT Base. With this complete, you can click the minus arrow over here, or you don't really have to, and close up the collision previewer. Open up Model Data 2, and open up 3D Models and Platform 01, or whatever model you're using, depending on your stage. Now this is where we're going to be animating the model And again, like I said earlier, we're not actually animating the collision. The collision is just following our model's animation. So we're going to do a little dinky, easy one. And with your, over here in Bones, and if you're uncomfortable with the animation editor, make sure to watch my animation tutorials, like editing animations. So with the main bone selected, click on the animation that's associated with it. And if you remember in our other tutorial, we have it set to being at 55 on the y-axis, so that it's a nice height above Final Destination. What we're going to do now is down here in the frames, we're going to skip ahead to about 250 and hit enter. And you're going to go over to Translation X and go to 250. And if you zoom out, you can see it's way over there, way off to the side. And then go 500 and press 0 on Translation X. And if you want, you can continue 750, negative 250 for Translation X, and then 1000, 0, rinse, wash, repeat, until you get all 9,600 frames, because that's how long it takes Final Destination to loop. But if you're just following along and just want to see how it works, I'll go back to frame 1, because frame 0 doesn't exist, and then click play, and we can see it's moving. And when this is going to be happening in Brawl, and while this is happening, our collision will be following on top of that. So we have a moving collision now. And this is fully working. We can pause, stop, whatever, close this, and then of course, minimize if you want, file, save as. And because that collision is a floor, or whatever it was set to, we didn't change it because it really should be, this should really be a fall through. Doesn't really matter. It knows it's a floor. You just won't be able to fall through it. If you want it to be a platform, of course, you'll have to make it a fall through. Doesn't matter that much for just learning purposes. Let's go file, save as, stage final, space dash space, whatever you want, tutorial. And the interesting thing is you can make the platform rotate as it goes, and you'll be standing on it and then you'll fall off. Stuff like that. Do some crazy stuff, whatever you want with this. Give Brawl Box some time to save the file, because it can be really tedious to compile this for the first time. So just literally just give some time. It's compressing in the background. Once that's finished, you add it to your SD card under PF, Stages, Melee, Stage Final.pack. And I hope to have the demonstration up later. Thanks so much for watching, and check out my blog if you haven't. I appreciate all of your views, and I hope I can keep helping you in the future. Read the description, check out those earlier tutorials. Thanks a lot.